Tonight's shave, we're going to start off with the Semogue Owners Club Boar brush, soaking in water. The razor this evening is a Gillette Rocket HD, a razor from the UK. This is my first time using it, and the weight of it just feels tremendous. I can see why it's so popular. As you can see, it's a twist to open razor, and the blade end is the Perma-Sharp stainless. This is a 7 o'clock by Gillette, the green box. And there are two green box manufacturers, Russia and India, and this should be the one from India. Used it yesterday, and it was pretty good. A little bit rough. It was in a Blackbird, which is fairly aggressive, but then it smoothed out toward the end of the shave. So I'm interested to see if it behaves itself in its second shave. The soap for today is the very good base of Lee Drunken Goat. Scent of this one, kind of like strawberry or cherry, chocolate. I mean, to me, it's like chocolate covered strawberry or chocolate covered cherry. They say there's some Guinness or some type of lager or wine smell in there. Don't guess I'm really getting that. Maybe also a hint of Tootsie Roll. Those are the things that are jumping out at me. This will be my first time using it. The water will be added to the brush with a syringe. It's the 10 milliliter medicine syringe. That way I can keep track of how much water I use to be able to adjust for next time. I'll probably do an after shave splash of Proraso Red, which is a sandalwood scent. I may opt out of that depending on how I feel. And then at the end, the balm is Cella Milano, Balsamo, Dopo, Barba. First time using it. It has a scent as well. It's definitely not unscented. It also does not smell like the marzipan that is the cherry or almond normal Cella shaving soap. It is its own, and it's a good fragrance so far. I like it. It may clash with a sandalwood, but I don't think so. Lather bowl. This is actually the first time I'll be lathering in a tub for a long time. I've just been doing so many samples lately to try to figure out what I like. Work through those samples because of the holiday specials that were going on. And so it is nice to be in a tub for once. I'm going to sling most of the water out of the brush. Here we go. Wonder if this dark soap will put a tint in the boar bristles. Definitely have a good kind of paste forming. I'm used to the Lee samples. Sampled Cape Verde, Reunion, Colonia de Argumi. I hope I'm not butchering the names too much. All right, surely I've got enough. Yeah, chocolate covered cherries. and Tootsie Rolls on the side. So let us start whipping this up. This brush is fairly young. I'm going to go ahead and put some water in it. This brush is fairly young, maybe 20, 21 uses now. I'm going to pause this for a second, give my face just a splash of water so those hairs can just start softening just a bit, and then get back to my mixing. I have been able to push a good bit of water, usually like 3 to 4 teaspoons of water, into a sample that I use of Mickey Lee. Now, I don't know, since I've been using samples, I've been pulling out a bit with my finger, and so that is very different than going to the tub with the brush tips. Don't know exactly how much I ended up with on my brush. Surely it'll be enough. Sure hope so. So the you saw how dark the soap, the hard soap was. This is a off-white color, almost tan. I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the syringe, then refill the syringe. Though this is a young Boar brush, relatively, it is pretty comfortable on the face. It doesn't splay a lot, so it doesn't hold a lot of soap in it quite yet. It's a fine bowl lathering, face lathering brush. You can just come right out of the tub with it. Long handles, nice for the bowl lathering. Alright, so we are getting there. Very interesting. This is going to be a unique soap in my den if I end up keeping it. I've got Mickey Lee Unforgiven. Love it. Now, look at that. Look how it maintains its shape. We do have a floppy bit of lather there, but for the most part, this is holding. Look at the contours. The peaks easily stand on their own. It means we need to hydrate them more. I like to add about half a teaspoon at a time, which is about a quarter of that particular syringe. supposed to maybe smell like Guinness or something. I mean, I guess it maybe smells like Guinness or a stout, in the same way that a stout smells like a Tootsie Roll or a chocolate. And so in that, by that logic, it really doesn't smell so much like a stout. It just smells like something else that a stout smells like. And so I'm mainly getting chocolate covered cherries and Tootsie Rolls so far. We'll see how that translates as it's moved into a workable lather on the face. And then I understand that there are some lathers who will evolve on the face. They'll start off, certain nuances will be smelled at the beginning, and they'll morph into something slightly different while some note fades away. Look at the glob now. Oh, look at that. That's encouraging. It still stands up on its own, but it's teetering. Does it have a sheen? A very light sheen. The peaks are standing up on their own, though. I'm going to add the last teaspoon. Now, just going to let that be it. Usually I push it further. Just going to let that be it for now. And Mickey Lee can usually take it. So far. With all of the samples that I've done, it's been great at taking the water. Alright, moisturize the face. I just shave with whatever comes out of the cold tap. It is winter, and so while this, make sure this is tightened down properly, while right now it is pretty room temperature, as the cold water comes in from the outside, it's going to get chilly. All right. "24 hours worth of growth." As you can see, it's going on pretty light as I'm doing the scrubbing, but right now my focus, and this is just something I've gathered, and don't take it for wisdom from a lot of the things that I say are things I've learned from better people. But right now, this is just me talking. I'm guessing that it's okay to lay it down this thick while I'm in the scrubbing process, because we're cleaning the hairs, cleaning the follicles, cleaning the face, to prep it for the shave. And then once once it comes time to actually thicken it up with the painting strokes, it'll be fine. So let's do that. What am I smelling right now? Let me think. There is something else in there that's nice. That's good. That's maturing the scent, not just, so it's taking me away from the simplicity of Tootsie Rolls and chocolate covered cherries. I'm glad I didn't push it further. Of course, this could just be the brush. This brush being so stiff. I may have pushed it too far. It didn't seem like it. But I may have. Who knows? I'll have to ask somebody better than me. No, there is something nice in there. Yeah, like a musk cologne, but it's very subtle. It's making it feel more mature, giving it some body. I like it. It's possible that might keep it in my rotation. If it's just chocolate covered cherries, I'm probably going to get rid of it. First time shaving with this razor, second time with this blade, first time with this soap. Cutting pretty smoothly. No pulling. But it does look like it's, skipping some hairs, and that's okay. It's one of those cases of we're just removing some hairs gradually, not trying to cut them all at once. You see, I'm glad I got a little tiny bleeder. That's something that opened up 1 or 2 times ago. I'm glad I kept track of the water. So for this soap, I can back off a little bit. Instead of 2 whole syringes, 4 teaspoons, I can back it off maybe to 3.5 or just 3 teaspoons. It's going to vary per brush as well, but that's also why I sling all the water out of the brush that I can. Whether I'm using a Badger or a Boar, I'm generally going to be adding the same amount of water. All right, let's rinse this. Oh, that's nice. I feel that slickness that Mickey Lee is just good at. So see, even though it was super thin, I felt protected. And I got the slickness that I was hoping for. Matter of fact, you know what I might do? Since I've got the tub, you can't do this with samples. Just go right back to the tub. Bring in some thickness to the lather. So interesting. I'm pretty sure I was able to push Mickey Lee with more water than similar to what I did tonight. But this one didn't go as well. It just kind of thinned and disappeared. Now this, we've brought it back with a little bit from the tub. Right. Wiping away a non-hair area so that I know where to stop. All right, so wonderful balance. This feels so good in the hand. The grip is tremendous, not going to slip whether I've got soap or water in my hand. Solid, at least that, you know, since we know that there's a shaft going up the middle, since it's a butterfly twist to open type razor, but at least the bottom looks pretty solid. Very happy with this combination. Very smooth shaving. By combination, I meant blade and razor. Pretty easy for me to find the what I believe is probably the sweet spot. I had this as a weeper a couple days ago. Maybe I'll try not to bring it in. Nice lubrication I felt. I was able to go back over a couple areas that didn't have soap on them. I mean, they just had soap on them, you know, but sometimes you can't do that. Gonna rinse. Man, yeah, I can feel that slickness. That is so nice. Very nice. Don't even need to do my cheeks as usual. Big one like that, I'll go ahead and put that back on. Sometimes, since this is a new-ish Boar brush, I'll go over a sensitive area that might be razor burning and I'll feel it. I feel that a little bit right there under my, right over here. All right. I'm glad I went back to the tub and got a little bit more soap. All right. I expect a super slick. Comfortable pass. That's what I'm getting so far. Trouble spot. I'm actually shaving with the gray. I'm trying that as a new technique because everything else I've tried pretty much hasn't worked. to get these hairs that go sideways right next to my Adam's apple. They are tricky, have been proving to be very elusive. Now I can switch over to a cross grain. Oh, the slickness, I just feel it. Holy cow, I could run over that skin with a brick and it would be fine. Very nice. So for the last few days I've been shaving with an aggressive razor. The Blackland Blackbird. And sometimes it's been pretty smooth, depends on the blade and my technique. But you can still feel it. You feel that edge. And this is not that aggressive, and it's a joy to use. Super comfortable. Very nice. I can see why that's a loved razor. And did pretty well. I think that third pass with the grain, just with a good sharp blade, it seems to give me less irritation. But also it seems to actually cut the hairs better than a cross grain run for some reason. See a little bit of length, but some of them I just see the tips. That's really good for me. I'll take it. I'm just going to let that little weeper right there stop itself. I'm not going to whip out the alum block for that. All right. It's a comfortable shave. I don't feel any irritation. Definitely on my cheeks I don't. Adam's apple, no problem there. Got that well. Nice DFS shave on my cheeks. Some of it is baby butt smooth. Not as much as with the Blackbird. But I'd almost be willing to, in general, sacrifice that little extra close shave for the comfort that you get with this razor. Oh, and it feels so balanced in your hand, and it's small but big, if I can put it that way. Because of its weight, it feels like a big shaver in your hand. I believe this is just the size, maybe even a little shorter than the Merkur 34C, but that one feels like a much smaller razor in my hand, and so I haven't actually used it but maybe once. It just felt like a baby razor to me. I've got big hands. But this one, it's got so much weight to it. I don't know if that changes the whole feel of the razor. I believe this is a similar head as the Aristocrats, maybe the UK Aristocrats, which are wonderful shavers. So, very nice. I am going to, let's go ahead and go with the, oh yeah, see, I can still feel some of the slickness. Let's go ahead and move on. I've been doing the Dragon lately. Dapper Dragon. And I think I like it okay. I'm going to maybe do a little bit more before I decide whether I like it better or worse than a balm like Sterling or the Nivea post-shave sensitive. Really like that one. Alright, a little bit of stinging, but now that stinging's gone. From the Proraso Red. Sandalwood scent. antiseptic qualities there. I'll give that a minute while I clean up the den before I put my balm on. So as I'm cleaning up, show you the status of my Semogue Owners Club brush, Boar, and it's splay now at about use number 21 or so, getting better, and some of the tips are starting to split, which will make it softer. And you know, it may take a year because I use it every other day or even every third day, sometimes even more less frequent than that. So it may take a while before it really grows and expands to what a lot of veterans have in their den already because they've been using them. So, but there's the status of what a 20-use Boar can look like. I took it over to the towel and kind of went up and down with it like that to dry it off and to give it some flex and work while it was wet. I bet you don't want to flex and work it while it's dry because it might tend to break off hairs and stuff. That's my guess. Anyway, just wanted to show you the status of that. Well, I'll tell you this. The Drunken Goat and Proraso Red are playing very nicely together. This adds a very nice nuance to the Sandalwood. Very nice. Now, I'm really enjoying that. Let's bring in a third fragrance. This Balm. Face is dryish. First time I've used this after a shave. It's got kind of a cologne scent to it. Maybe a little bit of a cologne mixed with something like maybe, you know, citrus. But the citrus is just maturing the cologne. It's not, you don't smell it and think citrus. Some other things too. Who knows? We'll see how all three things play together. But I'm very happy with how these two played together. That's terrific. I almost didn't want to put on the balm. So in that case, if this balm doesn't go well with it, what I may do is get an unscented balm or a sandalwood balm to use for that. Almost knocking off my towel here. All right, the balm was easy to put on. I'll report on it in a minute as it absorbs in. Cool. I like the Cella soap a lot. Marzipan type cherry almond soap. Been around for a century or so. It doesn't perform as well as maybe the Barrister and Man and you know, Sterling and some of those other soaps perhaps, but I like it anyway. So that's why I was interested in trying their post-shave balm. So, Desert Island questions. This razor, this blade, yes, I would be very happy to be stuck using this combination for decades. Very happy. The soap, Mickey Lee Drunken Goat. Yeah, I think so. Because there was that note that I mentioned, musky something, that I really only discovered as it was kind of on my face. That was intriguing enough to make it enjoyable and masculine, instead of just being niched into Tootsie Rolls and chocolate-covered cherries. Then, when I combined it with the sandalwood, that was very enjoyable. So yes, And in general, I like the smell of this. We'll see how I feel after a few hours with this on my face. Okay, it's already kind of absorbed in. It doesn't have the tackiness that the post-shave sensitive from Nivea does. So it absorbs more quickly. So the Nivea is probably going to hydrate a little better, but that's its main goal. This is probably trying to be more of a mid-range, kind of a jack of all trades kind of thing, where the sensitive is just really focused on treating your skin right and stuff. So we'll see how this feels after I wake up in the morning. Very happy with this enjoyable shave. The Gillette 7 o'clock, the blade, 7 o'clock Perma-Sharp, green box from India. If it says Perma-Sharp on the green box, I believe my research indicated that meant it was one of the Indian manufacturers. If it's a green box and it doesn't say Perma-Sharp on it, then it's the Russian green. And they are each different, and you may like one better than the other. It's subjective, totally subjective, and it can vary per razor. Okay, you may really like this in one razor and hate it in another razor. Okay, so order those samplers. If you're really new, stick with one good blade for a good month or two. But so until you get your technique right, you don't want to bring in all these variables, because then you don't know where you stand. But once you've got some good technique, buy those samplers and try and find out what works for you. And if it's a crappy blade for you in one razor, put it in a different razor. That's maybe not like this is a Gillette, so any of the Gillettes that are kind of like this, maybe the Aristocrats that I might have, if I don't like it in here, then maybe that means I might not like it in there. So the first place I might try it is something on the other end of the spectrum, or another brand, to see if it does better. And you may find that it really will be different. I'm going to clean up some more. I don't know if you're interested at all, but here's how I do my setup. I don't really have the ability to have a dedicated shave shelf or den where I can just keep my stuff. I have to kind of gather it up and put it away every time. And so I've got my shave. That's one of the benefits of having a shaving bowl. I've got my jar that is kind of narrow at the top that I use to soak my brushes in, holds them up nicely. I've got my alum, rarely need it unless I'm using my Blackbird. I've got my syringe, and then the only thing is that right now I have two other balms, just because the Sterling is my usual balm, and this one is a new one I'm trying out. And all these things fit in my bowl, so I can just pile it up, put it away, we're good to go. I think I'm still smelling some of that Drunken Goat on my around me right now, and that's great. I was walking, putting away the bowl, and I could still smell it, and it's working with the other fragrances really well. So very cool. Yeah, fully dry now, pretty much. Happy with all respects of the shave. So that's it. Have a good night. Get some sleep. Take care.